full breadth of area. You can kind of almost feel certain muscles pulling and working harder. Now if you roll your shoulders back and tip your head back and take a full breath in, you can feel it's a little bit easier to breathe. So this stretch, we're going to have everybody stand up and do this stretch because it's going to help get more oxygen into our body. So everybody stand up and we'll walk you through it. So the way that we do this one, if we take our thumbs, we just point them back as much as we can point them back and we pull our chin straight back. That's the Y. You feel that stretching on the front part of your shoulders. Then you drop your elbows down, squeeze your shoulder blades back, keep your head back though. This is the W. Then you put your arms straight out to the side, keep your thumbs pointing back. This would be the T. You should feel that really stretching, probably all the way down to your little finger. And then you drop your elbows down by your side and roll your arms back. That's the L. So YWTL. It's kind of like the YMCA song from the weddings, but YWTL. So that you can feel how it's going to stretch it out. That's going to be the exact opposite position that we're in. When we're in a chronic pain, a lot of times we go into that defensive posture, which head down, arms forward. You can kind of almost see people as they're walking down the street who's feeling good and who's not because of just looking at their posture. But this stretch is going to help to offset that. So if we're working at a computer, you guys can go ahead and grab a seat. If we're working at a computer sitting for more than an hour, this stretch should be done once an hour from sitting in this position.
How many times?
Take it one time, just run through it one time. It should take 15 seconds to go through it on each spot, so it'll take you like a minute. So 1 minute out of every hour, we can get up and just stretch. It's going to make a huge difference. There's a couple other stretches here. This is more for that middle part of your back. If you're sitting and you can feel that muscle in the middle part of your back working harder, that's the same muscle that will get overworked if our adrenal glands are tired. This is a stretch called the cat and camel stretch. It's really good to help out stretch out that middle part of the back. So we're going to move on. So sugar is very inflammatory. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. Inflammation and sugar go hand in hand. The more sugar we have, the more inflammation we get in our body. The reason being is sugar is going to decrease the pH levels in our body. And we find this really commonly with people with fibromyalgia that their pH levels are off. So we check pH level in saliva, we can check it in your blood, and we check it in the urine. There's a couple different areas that we can check pH in the body. The easiest one to check is the saliva though, and we really use a pH strip. It's almost like the same way as checking the pool. So if the pool water is off, we measure the chemistry in there, and what happens to the pool water if the pH gets off? Bacteria grows and gets nasty smelling and all kinds of different things. Same thing happens in our body. Our body doesn't want our pH to be off because then enzymes don't work, we don't break down food the same way, we don't digest things the same way, bacteria and viruses move in and cancer moves in if our pH level is off. So really important for our body to have the right pH. Normally right around the 6.75 to 7.0 is where we want our pH levels to be. So an easy test to do is just take a pH strip, put it in your mouth and see where we're at. A lot of times we're going to find out people with fibromyalgia are down in more in this acidic level.
Can you use one for your pool?
I'm not sure. You might be able to. Read the label and see. It's going to be pretty similar. I know that the ones that we get are almost exactly the same with that you dip them in the pool. So, but what happens when our pH levels get off and we're very acidic is our body starts to pull calcium and magnesium out of the body to try to put it into the bloodstream to neutralize the pH. So too much acid is a negative sign. If you look at the chart for calcium and magnesium, you're always going to see these little plus molecules next to them. It means they have a good ability to balance out pH.
So if your calcium level is normal,
yep.
Could your pH still be off?
It could be.
Because
yep.
your body's compensating.
Yep, exactly. So you're going to pull calcium out of the bone and out of the muscle to put it into the blood. So if you just measured your calcium level in your blood, it should be normal, even though you might be lacking it in the muscle or in the bone. And so long term, we're going to see long-term pH balance being off. You're going to have a lot more osteoporosis. So in the United States, where pH is off in a lot more people, we see a lot more people with osteoporosis. Also, a lot more people with arthritis, because remember, the bones aren't working right. They're going to wear out faster when they are arthritis. So really important to measure pH. Things that will lower the pH, I wrote it down here. Sugar, dairy, and animal protein are the three biggest ones. So we look at the countries in the world that have the most dairy and animal protein consumption. There's the same areas that have the most osteoporosis, the most arthritis, and also the most fibromyalgia. So pH is really good. What's that?
Drink dairy to get calcium.
Yeah, the problem is the protein that comes in dairy is very acidic when it gets in our body. And so we pull the calcium out of the bone, put it in the blood, just to balance that out. So it's a net loss of calcium, even though there is calcium in there.
And what if your calcium is low?
If your calcium is low, then you probably need to add calcium in. So you might have to take a supplement that would add calcium to your body. The best option for calcium, though, if we look at the animals that have the most calcium in the milk, is the cows. They're not drinking milk. They're eating green leafy things, and that's what's giving them the calcium. So the best option for getting calcium is to start eating green leafy foods. That's what's loaded full of calcium and magnesium. And so when we look at the muscles working, in order for the muscle to contract, you need to add a calcium molecule onto the muscle to make it go contract. So if we don't have enough calcium, the muscles are going to be weak, our bones are going to be weak. But in order for the muscle to relax, we need to add a magnesium molecule on there to the muscle in order for the muscle to now relax. So a lot of times when we're under chronic tight muscles and pain, we're burning through magnesium a lot faster than what we should. So the RDA for magnesium is 400 milligrams a day. But when we're under constant pain and muscle tightness, we need to add that a lot more than that. So a lot of people need to go up to 800 or even 1,000 milligrams of magnesium a day just to help their muscles start to relax.
Do you recommend taking supplements?
I would recommend eating green leafy vegetables. If you can't do enough of that, then you might have to take a supplement. Yep. But hopefully not a supplement. I always like to get the food, the nutrients from the food, which would be the best option. So, yeah. So eating plants, nuts and seeds will also help to balance out the pH levels. Book called The China Study, really interesting book, just written a few years ago. They basically studied China as China is now becoming westernized and changing their eating habits and how they're doing things. And different restaurants are pulling up over there. They're finding that the population of the United States in China has now become obese. Just in the last 10 years, as China has become more modernized, they're seeing people rapidly becoming obese faster and faster, and it's a lot about the food choices. They're also seeing them suffer a lot of the same diseases that we've been suffering with over here. China never had them, and now, as they're becoming more westernized, they're starting to develop the same things with tumors and cancers and fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, and they're saying, what is it coming from? The bottom line, this is a study that was done over many years to look at what's happening to the Chinese people as they're eating differently and doing different things, and they found that protein, specifically animal protein, appeared to be the biggest culprit as far as what's changing the way that, so a lot of people think it's the fat or the saturated fat or the trans fats, but the China study was saying it's actually more the animal protein that was causing the problems. So